Cup of Joe with Grampa Dez. Hey, Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Cup of Joe with Grampa Dez. I actually got a cup of Joe here with me.
So
Believe it
this
or
is
not.
this is the second, I think, in a row where the other person's had coffee and I haven't. But I got water.
You
And
got okay. That's okay. You know what? I
my
got
Jets
water
mug. I have coffee, but it's in the other room. So I mean, I could get up, but then you see I'm wearing shorts. You see what I'm wearing?
Oh, the NWO shirt. Oh, so cool. Oh,
yeah,
great.
and this is an original.
Original.
So
That's
this is
definitely an
1990.
I can tell.
Yeah, 1997, and I'm still wearing it. Like
Yeah.
I didn't buy it like 2 years ago or anything. Like
I thought about wearing a wrestling shirt, and I was like, no. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put on whatever for today, and that's it. And yeah,
I was actually given this shirt in, I'd say, probably 99 by Doug.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he gave me a bunch of shirts. Yeah, and a couple NWO ones, and there was an Undertaker one, and I still have every one of them to this day. Like super high quality. Yeah.
I got to get more shirts. I have an Impact Wrestling shirt that doesn't fit me anymore because I'm gonna lose.
Same here. Here.
And then I got a SmackDown shirt that got ripped up. I bought another one, and I'm like, I'll never wear that shirt ever. I should probably wear the SmackDown shirt. And then I got a WrestleMania shirt that I always wear, and it starts ripping up now from 2013. And then coffee wise, Clutch Coffee from Dark Matter Coffee.
I'm almost always drinking Tim's, but I've never heard of that one. Is that like just a New Jersey thing? Or?
No, Clutch is a band actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. It's one of my top 5 bands, and they're doing a live stream concert tomorrow actually.
Oh, cool.
Cheap plug for them, but
so it's called Clutch.
Clutch Coffee, but it's Dark Matter. It's made by Dark Matter.
Oh, the band is Dark Matter.
The band is Clutch. The coffee brand is Dark Matter Coffee.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's called like Release the Kraken or something like that. It's got a Kraken on there, not the Seattle Kraken, but
I was gonna say. Yeah. So are these grounds or is that like pods or what?
It's grounds. Yeah, it's coffee. It's coffee grounds. Yeah, and I was gonna do a cheap plug again as well for you though a little bit because I wanted to read something out of a book that I have here.
I have. Okay, I think I know what you're. Look behind my shoulder.
It's right in the middle.
Right, yeah, on top of the WrestleMania thing.
Yeah, Pete and I went to New Jersey to see his wrestling promotion that we'd only read about in wrestling magazines, and we had no idea what we were in for. Well, Jason started delivering as promised and certainly justified. So I started laughing at the one line. I was cracking up. I'm like, Bill Chance picked us up at the airport as 86 Honda Civic, and we barely had room to get in the car. But Bill acted like he was in a stretch limo. He seemed as he didn't bathe or shaved in weeks, and the dirt in the car is the only thing keeping it from rusting out. Apparently, the car looked as like a luxury vehicle compared to his office that we were treated to later on. Though he had an 8x10 office that he called the NJWF headquarters. I just started cracking up. I actually reread the book, by the way.
Wow! I got to read that again. Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you read it, and I don't even remember writing it. So that's how long it's been.
And I'm cracking up, and oh my gosh, Paul! I'm sorry, Dez, Grandpa Dez. I call you Paul.
No, whatever.
Yeah, and then there was another one, that I went through. I think there was another one in there that I was so appreciative when you asked me to even have a character in the book.
So hang on, just before you go further, so everybody knows. Bill Chance is based on Dan Lukiw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the minute you said like the dirty car and everything, I'm thinking dirty Dan Lukiw. And I'm like, I put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. And then you asked me, you said, I'm not going to put your name in there, but can I put your character's name in there? And then I think on page 18, it was like, for a small venue that was less than a quarter full, those fans at the first BWF event made a lot of noise. I wrestled Lucky Man Dylan Dice in the first show for the BWF World Heavyweight title. I wrestled Dice many times in the NIWF and worked well with him. And this is the line that cracked me up. The fans had never seen either of us work, but I guess some of them had read about the NIWF in magazines like Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So I was sitting there, I was like, if NIWF was ever in PWI, that would be like the most amazing thing. But no.
Yeah. Well, you know what the funny thing is Doug and I thought about sending in reports to PWI at the time and saying, like, here's NIWF results, here's BWF results, and seeing if they'd actually get published. Like, I guarantee you that happened at some point.
We were on some kind of like e-wrestling thing. I remember that on some forums or whatnot. And we had like these top federations and whatnot. And I remember, I think yours and mine at the time were pretty up there. And this is like 90s or whatever, right?
When I had the WIWO, that was actually getting a lot of, we had some really good people in there. Mm-hmm. And it became so much work because the people were so good. So I figured, well, if they're spending this much time writing their flashes, as we called them back then, but they're promos. I thought, well, I need to put that much time into what I'm doing. And it became almost like a job.
Yeah.
And I remember Doug printed off cards sometimes, and they were like 50 pages long.
Yeah.
Like, and we were doing these every week.
Yeah. It was too much. It burnt me out too.
Yeah.
I was like,
but it was fun.
It was fun at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But until
do you remember the one that I did? I don't know if it was in the Fed you were in at the time, but I did the A&E biography of Jimmy Cougar.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he was. Yeah.
And it was like 30 pages long.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I'm like, okay. I'm like, here we go. This is entertaining.
Because I read somewhere it's like 1 minute equals 1 page. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to do 30 pages if it's a 30-minute special. My God, I just spent so much time on that.
Yeah. Well, you did sign the book. You did sign the book too.
Yeah. You know what? I hardly ever do that. So if David Lovell is listening, and I know you just had him on your podcast last week, quote unquote, looking up in the sky. Last week you had him on your podcast.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, he was, I sent him a book about, I don't know, 5 months ago. And he, and then he comments back, he's like, you could have signed it. And I'm like, I swore I signed it. I'm so bad with signing books when I send them to people. Josiah McDonald is another guy I sent a book to, and I think I forgot to sign it.
All right, guys, in my defense, I am a character in the book. I think I might have been a little bit of an exception there. But yeah, that was
so. I gotta ask.
Book went deep. That book went deep, man.
I gotta ask. So okay, so without spoiling anything, for people that haven't read it, and now people are going to see this and want to read it. So did you figure out where it was going?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay,
very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time, the same thing. I thought it's the same, but I wasn't sure towards the end, and I was
because the way it's written, you don't know, right?
Yeah, you don't know, right?
Yeah. And then at the end, it's kind of given away, and so I get so there's a lot of stuff in that book that actually is from my life. And then obviously a lot of it is from our e-wrestling.
Yeah, you put two and two together. And that's what I meant to ask you. Did you ever do like a different book at all? Or was this the only book you ever read?
No, in fact, no. And so I've been asked, and I've thought about doing another book. And obviously, again, without giving anything away, I couldn't necessarily do a book on this same character. Right. There's a million other characters in the book and around the book that I could have written about, or I could have just done something completely different. And I've even thought about just writing my own life story, and of course, like anybody that would write their life story, you're like, well, who wants to read my life story?
It's interesting to some people, right? Of course.
Well, and that's the thing. And like when you actually sit down and think about it or write it down or even talk about it, like I've had people say like, wow, I can't believe like you've done all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't really think I've done much at all, but you can do, you can tell stories and then, and then the problem too is, you get to be, the other side of 50, and now I
can these two guys, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. DiBiase and DDP. I got both their books, both signed, by the way.
Oh wow.
Oh no, DDP is not signed yet. I should say but I do interact with them on the DDP Yoga Facebook group.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you doing that? Because I know you've
I've been off and
problems
I've been off and on with it and with the neck problems, whatnot. I'm gonna probably restart the journey again soon, just to see if it helps out at all. Because weight loss will help out, first of all, I think. And then, Ted,
all of us,
fantastic. Right? Ted actually signed my book, and he put a Matt 1616 in there. I guess I got to look to see. But he was so nice. He was such a nice guy. He was so professional. He let me hold the $1 million belt too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is really awesome. He basically told his whole life story in here with his family and him, and how he got into the business and everything that happened. And then those kind of things are very interesting to me. When you start seeing like that.
He spoke at a men's convention that was like sponsored by my church years ago, and I meant to go, and I just for whatever reason something happened that weekend and I couldn't go, and I regretted it because I really wanted to see it, and it was right in my hometown. Yeah, so I probably would have got to meet him and everything, and it just didn't happen. So someday, hopefully,
I've missed Jericho twice now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And with his he had 2 books now. The List of Jericho, the one now, which I have.
I've got his one of his is it there? Yeah, the Lion's Tail is behind me.
The Lion's Tail, and that one too. And he was like literally right around the corner, like at the time signing books, and I completely missed him. I was like, man, I'm like, how did I miss Jericho?
He was in Winnipeg, and this would have been right before he went to New Japan. maybe 6 months before, he did I think it was like one of those stand-up shows at a casino here, and I very nearly like got into like where I was gonna like meet him and Lance Storm, who I like talked to, you know, on Twitter, like we DM back and forth, and you know, and that could have happened and it didn't, and it's a regret because that was the weekend he kind of hooked up with Don Callis and set up the whole New Japan thing, and you know, with Kenny Omega, which, you know, indirectly led to AEW, right? You know, this would have been the end, you know, end of 2018, I think. Yeah.
That's
so
about right. Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's a small world, and he's from here. So I know my buddy Wade was and I think maybe, I don't know if you know him, but because he's in the group, but
he is in the group. I've seen Wade.
Wade Haugen. Yep. He's in North Dakota, and he was going to drive up here and see the show with me. And then when he didn't, I just decided, well, I'm not going to go either. And then and I would have had the opportunity.
Man, I miss going to live shows. I mean, last live show I've been at, I think, was 2018, before I felt my neck was going to break. Like, that's as I felt my neck was just going to break, and I still feel that way whenever I sit down in like certain areas and stuff like that. It's just a never-ending story. I'm basically the Edge right now, you know, of our group, and it just sucks. Yeah. And you know, I might even have a third surgery next year. I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah. So because they're talking about it, and I'm like, oh man. I'm like, you know what? At least I know what to expect. Yeah.
I haven't been to a live show since Double or Nothing in their first Double or Nothing in 2019, and I'm hoping to go to the one next year. And that would be probably my first one. You know, and well, I might go to SmackDown. In fact, I probably will go to SmackDown.
Oh, the one in Winnipeg. Yeah.
And then WrestleMania too. So yeah, so I'm planning some shows next year.
Oh, you're going to WrestleMania in Dallas next year?
We're gonna drive there. Yeah.
You're gonna go both nights?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Nice.
My daughter, you know, wants to meet Becky Lynch, and Becky wants to meet her. So I just got a message from her like not that long ago. Nice. I can't wait to see her. She's obviously a lot busier now. She doesn't answer as quickly.
I would imagine so. She's probably got a lot of interactions now going on.
I think it's more like she's just constantly working, and she doesn't check her social very often, because if you look, she doesn't post very often.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I sent her an email because I have her email too, and I sent her an email
don't tell too many people. They're going to be bothering you.
No.
But, I know.
But no, I sent her an email because I thought, well, that's the easiest thing to do. And because for me, like, I check my emails, you know, like several times a day. And so I thought, because we were having a little birthday party for Emily on her birthday, and I thought, well, you know, it'd be cool if we could like Zoom her in and she could say happy birthday or whatever. And then I sent it to her. It was only the day before the birthday. And then she didn't answer. And I'm like, okay, whatever. She's busy. This is before she came back. Like, this was in August. So it was before SummerSlam. Then I had sent her a Twitter DM, like a week later about something else. And she answered that right away. And I thought, well, that's weird. She didn't answer the invite to the birthday party, but then she answered this. And then about a week after that, she answers the email. And she said, I'm so sorry. She said, I never checked my emails. I'm so sorry I didn't answer this. I totally would have done it. And then I'm like, okay. She says, like, you know, DM's the best way to get a hold of me. She said, I don't always check that either, but I probably check that more often than I check. Because I mean, she's also raising her kid, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And they take the kid on the road too. My understanding. Yeah. Her and Seth take the kid on the road to every show. And that's got to be something, man. I can only imagine how that's going.
We were lucky because when we did so we did a face-to-face Zoom with her, and Emily we were one of the first people. In fact, I think she said we were the first people, other than their family, to see the baby.
Oh,
yeah, because she had the baby on the screen, and then she's like, you know, please don't post this. And I'm like, no, of course not. You know, I posted one picture, but her baby wasn't in the picture, so it was just her and Emily on the screen, like we are. And I think maybe I was in the background, and Emily was laughing, and she said that one was okay because her kid wasn't in the picture.
Nice.
But she, you know, because at the time, like, I don't know how old her kid was, maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe, and so she was still at home. This was I can't remember when it was, like May maybe of last year. So it was really cool. So holy crap, we're already we got 14,
15,
we got
we got like 10 minutes or so.
So you do have the camera. You know what?
I do,
the clock.
Yeah,
I never knew, because I always tell people there's a clock there, and I don't know if you can see it,
I
and then I
can.
never
Yeah,
follow up. Okay, so you
yeah.
can't see it, so that's cool.
Yeah, I got a bunch of other books too. I was going to say,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, what do you
book
got there?
wise, people. That's never I never talk about books, and
No.
I'm trying to get back into there. So one girl that I was off and on with back in, I don't know, mid 2000s or so, Privacy War. It's actually a political book, and you know me, I'm not political. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like
pretty
I'm
neutral.
pretty middle of the road, right?
So that's FDR, Nixon, and JFK.
So no, this is Cornelius Neil Gallagher.
Oh,
That's her grandfather,
oh, okay, okay.
and he was one of JFK's two
But
right hand men.
that's LBJ on the one, right? Okay,
Yep. And then you
okay.
got JFK, or JFK right over here.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
obviously.
so the guy in the middle. Yeah, I thought
So
that
the
was
guy in the
Nixon,
middle is
but
the
it's LBJ.
grandfather, and
Okay, cool.
this is basically the story. I mean, this is such a great book too, and he signed it.
The
To Dan,
Privacy War.
to Dan, a friend of Sam is a friend of mine with best wishes, Neil Gallagher.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and he unfortunately went to prison for a lot of the inside knowledge that he had. This book
Wow.
shares all the inside knowledge. So there's only a select few people that actually bought the book and got him to sign it, and I was one of them.
Wow.
She took me to go see him up, where he lived. He's unfortunately passed away now, but just a lot of what happened, with political JFK and afterwards that he knew about, and the stuff that happened to him, all in this book. And
Wow.
and when I met the man, he was such a sharp as a tack. And
have you seen? Do you watch American Horror Story?
No, I do not. I should add that to the list though.
Okay, so the latest season, so they're all like, it's an anthology series. So every year is a different story, but they kind of are intertwined, but they're like, it's almost like AW, where these storylines are like so out there that you kind of almost have to like be following and reading websites and stuff to get it. But if you even just watch the seasons on their own, you're not like spoiled or anything. Like there's nothing like from the previous season that you're missing out on this season. There's just a lot of parallels, and they have the same cast members in a lot of cases, but they just play different characters.
American Horror Story, that was the one with Lady Gaga, right?
Yeah, she was in, I don't know, season 5
2?
or something.
Or was it season 5? That was season
She may have been in more than one.
Okay. Cool.
The one I saw was Hotel. So I can't remember if it was 5 or 6. But the reason I asked is because the latest season is partially set in the late 50s, early 60s, and it's Kennedy, it's Nixon, it's LBJ, it's Eisenhower.
Okay.
And it's all some sort of space conspiracy, and the aliens are taking over. And
they always do that with the politics.
Yeah. So it's fun though. And if you're, and that's what that picture reminded me of. My father-in-law wrote a book called Getting Elected in Canada.
Oh,
because he worked for the New Democratic Party, which is like the third party here, but the third party here is like way bigger than like the Green Party in the States, or the Reform or whatever. They're never going to get elected, but they do enough damage to where they affect the outcome of elections in a lot of cases. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And they do get elected provincially. Like, so we'll have the premier, like our premier in the next election will probably be New Democratic Party premier, because we're not happy with the current leadership. And then also my wife's, so what is it? Her grandmother's brother-in-law, I think it is, like they're tangentially related, but he was the deputy prime minister of Canada, and he actually ran for prime minister and lost an election at that one point, I think. Wow. Yeah, like, so he was like really, really big in the party, and I can't remember which party it was. I think it was the Conservative Party. So it's, so they have some interesting, because they're on opposite ends of the thing. So some of the family dinners were, a little heated. What was his name? I want to say Nielsen. I think so. If you Google Leslie Nielsen, the actor, his brother was like a big famous politician in Canada, and I think that might be the guy that I'm talking about. Okay, so she might have been related to Leslie Nielsen too. I got to double check with her. I probably have this all wrong, but I do know that there's a deputy prime minister in her family somewhere along the way.
Yeah, if you have any like book suggestions or anything, send them my way.
For sure.
Especially if I can buy them on Amazon or anything like that. I'd love to support you guys.
Now in what? Well, I don't know. The getting elected in Canada thing is pretty dry. But my aunt. Okay, so if you're I don't know if you've
I
watched
saw
this
her
show before.
podcast. I did
Okay.
see. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I saw this.
Yeah. So
Maybe a few
she's an
episodes
author.
ago, right? I saw her author. Yeah,
But
and
you
I
should
said,
check out JD's books.
yeah,
Like those are, and they're
yeah, I
pretty
heard
cheap,
about
I
them.
think. Like maybe like a couple bucks.
Okay, I'll have to
I
check them
think
out.
like
Yeah,
maybe like $5 is like the most expensive book he has.
cool.
So yeah, so I mean, and and he'd probably sign him for you and
Yeah,
stuff.
awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about getting into that myself, like writing a book, and I actually
Yeah,
had half a book written from like back in like 2004, 2005, right around the time that you wrote this book.
yeah.
And ironically enough, I got writer's block because I couldn't continue on. Then things happened with my family, my mother passing away around that time, and
Yeah.
everything, and I just stopped and then just said, I don't know. Then I had another idea after I was reading your book last night, because that I do a lot of men's league hockey, stuff like that, and I ran teams and whatever, and I have so many stories from all of our players. And I talked to one of our alternate captains today, actually, for Thanksgiving. Sorry, oops, it's not today.
it's today. It's fine. We're recording this on Thanksgiving because it's easier to record, and Dan wanted to be the first show in December, so this is going up on Wednesday. So that's cool.
We said one of us was going to let us slip, and I let us slip. Okay. Anyway,
I kind of almost did.
You kind of almost did. But anyway, I talked with him and I said, how cool of an idea would that be to give like some of our stories? And he goes, you'll probably have to check with some people or just not use people's names, but I think everyone would be okay with it. And
that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Even in my book, so Doug was my editor,
mm-hmm.
and we had to go through like a bunch of times. I might have mentioned this on a previous show, but because I kept using the real names. Yeah. And then so we had to go through, and then he'd be like, okay, who is this person? Because you said this. And then I'm like, and even I couldn't keep it straight sometimes. And there was a rhyme and reason to it. So like you said, I mean, like the Dirty Dan. So it was like a combination. So I guess it was Bill and Dan were like just kind of common names. And then Luck and Chance. Yeah. So it's Lukiw, which I always pronounced it Lukiw or Lukiw, but it's Lukiw, as you corrected me on when we did the rap.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at the time, so I'm thinking, and you was always Lucky Man, Dylan Dice. So Luck, Chance, and then for me, for my character, Dewey was based on me, and that was all from, that was a character that we had in our game. And it was, of course, based on, DUI, which, I had a DUI after this, I think, not after the book, but in fact, one of the stories in the book was directly related to my experience. Yeah. But the Dewey thing was that was totally, and then the karaoke superstar. I used to go do karaoke.
Well, karaoke, that's you. That's definitely you. I know that for certain. I'm surprised you haven't busted one out yet right now.
You know what? I'm just not in that mind frame.
That's okay.
Before we started this, and you rescued me because I turned on Impact Wrestling.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
And I guess here because no, I watch it every week, but
I know
because it's Thanksgiving. They, I guess, were doing a special show that was all going to be Wrestle House. Have you heard of Wrestle House?
No, I have not heard about that.
So it's their version of like Big Brother, except it's horrible. Like it is the absolute dirt worst. I've never seen it, but put it this way: our buddy like Mike and JD, who review the show every week on the Brace for Impact, they're not watching it. Like they turned on the show.
Bad?
They said like, we're not doing this week. Like they're going to talk about Impact, but they aren't talking about this show. And then when I told them like I'm not watching it, and they're like, we're quoting you on the show. In fact, what did he say? Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we're putting our foot down. We're not watching. I can't. And then we were talking about Taya Valkyrie because I think she's going to be on it.
Okay. Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Frankie Monet. Because she was on the last one and they were showing her in the recaps of the old one. And so I'd heard how bad this was. And when I saw the recap video, it's so much worse than I even imagined. Like it is horrible.
Oh boy.
Like
I might even want to watch this just for a good laugh. Oh, and by the way, this happened last week.
Yes. Yeah. I hope it's a 1 week thing. Like my hope is, so I was worried that they were bringing this back as a regular thing because this aired for like 4 months before when they did it the last time, and they would do like 10-15 minutes on every show. So if this was a one-shot deal for Thanksgiving and then they're just going to go back to the regular show, like I'm cool with that. Like I can miss 1 week of Impact and then go back because the actual show is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They've been getting better. They've been getting a little bit better.
Yeah,
I've
like
been
they got
catching some
better
shows here and
talent.
there. Yeah.
I mean, I like the one thing, and yeah, we are getting close to our time, but
Yeah, we're getting closer.
the one thing well, there's a lot of things I don't like about WWE, but the matchups are so stale. And so when you turn on Impact or an AEW, like you're seeing matches that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And anybody could show up,
Right.
on Impact. Like you could have a guy from New Japan, you could have a guy
We don't
from
know.
the W, you could have a guy from the Indies. Yeah, or somebody that just got cut from WWE. WWE, it's like you got like 15 people and one of them's going to be on the show. And when somebody comes out, even if you don't know the card, Damian Priest comes out, you know who he's wrestling. They don't even have to tell you. You know who's coming out next. And it's always been like that.
Always,
like in the 2000s, in the 90s, like The Rock would come out and you knew who was coming out next. It's whoever he's feuding with or their friend.
Austin or whoever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or Billy Gunn or, Road Dogg, like whoever he was feuding with. And then down the card, Road Dogg comes out. Oh, it's going to be Al Snow. Like it's just, and it never changes. And here on Impact, it's like anything could happen. It's not as good as AEW. It's not even close to as good as AEW, but at least it's different.
It's different. Yeah, exactly. Are you a Star Wars fan by any chance?
I've seen, I want to say, so the last one I saw was the one where, the last one that Mark Hamill did, whichever one that was.
The last one that Mark Hamill did. So technically that
the last one that
Harrison Ford did?
Yes. Yeah.
So technically that was the very, very last one because he wasn't the very last
one. So that is the last one I saw.
Okay, but the one that was it the one where I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen anything.
I mean,
it's
been
what happened
years.
to him? What happened to him in that one? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
okay. So was that the one with his son and what happened?
Yes.
With him?
Yes.
Okay, so that was not the last one. You still have two more to catch up on. Okay.
Oh, really? So Harrison Ford's back?
I let the cat out of the bag. So
that's fine. Like,
catch the next two. The one after that is so bad.
I think that's why I didn't see that one because I heard it was so bad, and then I just
But the one after that is so good that
these are all on Disney, right?
They are all on Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think I want to talk about was these books because I got these books, right?
I know Doug is super into Star Wars.
Yeah, you have see all behind me. Most of them are either Harry Potter or Star Wars books behind me. And this one is like after Return of the Jedi. So they give you a story after Return of the Jedi, and Timothy Zahn is the guy that wrote him, and I met him at Star Wars Celebration. Again, signed books, right? I get all these signed books over here. Very super nice guy too. Very just professional and everything. But these books are just so amazing because they tell different stories and they tell you what happens afterwards until between all these movies. So now you kind of have stories that tie into everything. I kind of want to throw that out there. But if you haven't seen the last two movies, definitely just at least catch them.
I will. I haven't signed up for Disney Plus yet, and I want to see the Marvel shows too. And so I will definitely. I want to see Hawkeye. Yeah. I heard it's not too bad.
I am sending you my login information so you can use.
Oh, okay. All right. So you know what? That's a good place to wrap. Yeah. I will definitely have you on again in probably a couple months, and next time I'll grab some books off the shelf. We'll talk books. We'll talk hockey.
Hockey. We got to talk Olympics, I think.
We'll be right around Olympic time. Hopefully they go. If they don't find that Ping, I can't remember, Shui. I don't think there's going to be an Olympics, but hopefully we do. We'll see. You heard about that, right?
I did hear about that.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah. But so hopefully there's an Olympics. So till next time. You got anything you want to plug other than what's been scrolling across the screen for the last
everything that's scrolling across the screen is what I want to plug, so you're good there.
Cool. All right. So check out Dan next time he's on the wrap with me. And for Dan, I'm Grampa Dez, and this has been Cup of Joe with Grampa Dez. Try to get that out of your head.